Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, what'd be kind of cool is as you have start stockpiling these things and you get your organization a bit together and whatnot. What you could always do in the future is pick areas where you have like stockpiles of some of these supplies, or start selling them. Where you have them like set. Like, remember how each map room has like a hidden compartment inside of them? Maybe inside each map room you have like a different like stock. Or like you have your go-to stock of same stuff in every map room, and you use like this one and this one, this one and this, you know what I mean?
Well, like a king survival kit in each map room.
Yeah. or even each town that you have control over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That way, if you have like a fallback point, you know what's there, and so kind of nifty to do. So since you have so many things like delay poison and less restoration and whatnot.
Yeah, I suppose they would be useful to have somewhere hidden away.
All right. So anyways, picking back up with you guys, back on your horses that you had borrowed from the horse lords that have come here and have really liked the look of Kurzfall and are looking to make deals. As I said beforehand. Did you have to make a? I think you have to make an economy check in speaking with them, don't you? Who wants to roll the economy check?
We didn't make an economy roll.
You did, but I meant to deal with these peoples.
With which peoples?
The two horse lords that came with you back to Kurzfall.
Yes.
Didn't the trader also give us a bonus to that because he was talking to them on the way back?
Them a little bit, yeah.
Yep, it's already been applied onto it, and it has affected the DC on my side, and the trader has already affected your stat on the other side.
It's economy check, is it? I'll
Correct.
do it.
Plus 15.
Plus 15.
Correct.
I ain't scared of no economy check. Watch me roll a 1.
Why have you said that? Why did you say it?
So you do dealings with them. Like I said, the DC was heavily impacted by what's his name.
Gonna luck it to get to 20.
20 is a clean number.
Like 20s don't mean it. Like doesn't mean it. It should be fine.
Okay.
Pathfinder's a weird system. Just I feel like the number game in it is really weird.
Oh no! Every 5 is certainly a factor when it comes to DCs, and then it's plus or minus based off DM discretion. Like the every 5 point is definitely.
The only reason I don't want it is because it's our final luck, and I can see Orsugo socking one of us.
How do you know nobody in chat has given you more?
Because you've not told me.
This every time. You do this every time, and then we roll it. No one's given us anything.
There's no dice. There you go.
Sorry, I had to.
I rest my case.
There you go. So you actually have a pretty good deal with them. They like Kurzfall. They like the situation that they see there. They like, but more importantly, they see benefit of trading with you guys. They see a benefit of having fair trade with you. And so they're more than happy to accompany you all the way back to Varen, especially considering what it is that you're trying to do for their town itself. So everything goes swimmingly. The DC was reduced, but there's also a benefit that you got for crushing the DC by beating it by 5 or more. Because I actually had the DC set for, I'm going to reduce it to a 17. You got a 22. So there's actually a benefit to that. So you continue making your way back to the east. Riding with them and all of the soldiers that you're bringing with you. So as you are, when you finally get back there, so my apologies, as you're riding out there on your trek over, do me a favor, roll me Jake survival. This is representative of the group, and Neil, you can roll me perception. We actually should probably have Jake roll that one too, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
Now, is this plotting a course back? Because last time when we went over, I got the plus from the map room, but if it's nothing to do with that, then I'll just roll it.
Nothing to do with that one.
Okay.
And one of these does impact the other one. Okay, cool. Roll the other one, and I'll give you your...
Nice.
Jesus, Jake. Oh my god. You rolled 2 18s in a row?
Even through that, he didn't even fucking smile. He's just like straight face.
Jake,
I couldn't see the die roll. I just had to wait for the result.
On your trek back, one of the things that you notice as you're walking there is that the number of footprints kind of in the area. This is like as you're on the map. If you guys are looking at the map, because remember you can of course open it up as a handout. So this is kind of like over in the area right as you're entering into the woods. So just south of the R in Idir, right? So as you're like entering into the wooded area, you notice that there are a lot more footprints that are in the area. You just have to pick it up. They're not very obvious. They're pretty subtle. You just have to be a particularly good person at picking up signs like this and tracking and so on and so forth. But more importantly, what you also get with your 27 is you notice that the footprints that are in the area seem to be along the similar path that you're walking beforehand, which, truth be told, is a safe path and is certainly one that is the fastest path between the two areas. But you start to get this gut and stomach sensational kind of feeling-y thing as you're continuing along this path.
That was a sentence.
Sensational feeling thing.
Do you continue going this way, or?
I would probably call a little bit of a council with Rayron and Leon, and I would say there's a lot more tracks along here than there were before. I've got a feeling there might be an ambush further up the road.
Can we change our route significantly without adding too much time?
If you change your route significantly, it'll add considerably more time to the track. Probably 2 days.
Could we skirt around a little bit and maybe ambush the ambushes?
What's his name? Leon actually says, the general actually says, it is possible we could do that. We could send scouts up ahead, and we can discover where it is that the ambush is, assuming our scouts aren't discovered. If they're not discovered, we can do exactly as you had just said, and that would give us a huge boon in the fight. If our scout is discovered, then not only would we lose that edge, they would know that we were looking for it, which would lose any other edge that we have. In dealing with fights like this, wild men, tribes, very often they're doing tactics like these because their numbers don't necessarily outnumber ours, or their skill doesn't necessarily outnumber ours, or the equipment, or so on. But they still need to report back to their chieftain, whoever's in command. You can usually find that when a fight begins, a runner will head out to the chieftain to give an immediate word that it's taking place. And after the fight ends, word will retrieve them by either those that are retreating because of a loss, or those that are marching back because of a victory. I think it's a good idea for us to meet them head on. Let the runner go. Let Orsugo know that we're coming. He already knows we're in the area. He's played his hand. He's laid a trap.
Very well.
He just kind of looks around and he probably agrees. He just says, "You are the one with the most experience, so I'm fine with following your lead." Are you sure you want to let the runner go, though?
He nods and says, "The element of surprise. What does that benefit us on this battlefield?" My apologies, to be clear. Not the field of battle we're about to engage in, but the one in several days from now.
Catching them unprepared?
We don't know where their camp is. We don't know how many they have. They certainly already know that we're in the area, as they've laid a trap. I don't think we'd actually have any element of surprise. I think it's a false sense of security. However, perhaps they spring their trap, in which case the fight comes to us. Defense tends to have less casualties than offense. If it's a multi-skirmish confrontation, it's best to have the first battle be a win. It'll bolden the soldiers that are underneath us, especially considering their townsfolk. Besides, there's a certain degree of pride one takes when defending their home, as opposed to attacking others.
Very well, Leon.
Did you say?
So Rayron agrees as well?
Yeah.
Okay. He nods and says, then let's not be foolish. One, you seem to have a very keen eye. I've not detected a single track here. He says, looking around, as you have already gestured towards them. Perhaps it's you that should keep the keen eye as we move forward. Take a few men, travel to the front. I'm not giving orders by any stretch. Simply a suggestion.
You are the general. I believe giving orders is your job.
Advising, he says with a small bow.
Okay, if you think that's best.
He'll nod to you and says, don't fret. Don't fret. Don't fret. I'll send the worst of the crossbowmen with you and have the best with me. That way they can lend aid, and should there be casualties, it would not harm us too deeply.
Okay, let's do it. So I'm gonna proceed pretty carefully, by the way.
Absolutely.
AKA cannon fodder with you.
It's just unfortunate ways of war. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that I don't value life. It's just that there is one life here that's more important than the others, in accordance to the law of the land. So, besides, they should be willing to jump in front of a crossbow bolt for him, right? God save the queen! Actually, God has saved the queen for 117 years, or however long that old hag has been kicking it. So,
Don't call her a hag. Come on, she doesn't deserve that.
um,
Has she ever said that we should build a wall to keep people out of Britain?
I'm sure she has said things about keeping some degree of homogeny in the past, but has it been enlightened over the years?
Fun fact, just so you know about our democracy, Jake will love this. Mr. Johnson has asked for Parliament to be suspended so that they can't overrule anything of his for a period of time. And you have to ask the Queen's permission to suspend it. So he's done that because they'll block Brexit otherwise, and he wants it to go through.
Oh God!
Did she approve it?
I don't think she has yet. She probably has to get some advice.
Yeah, she probably needs somebody to explain it to her 17 times.
Can I phone her? What?
What?
That is ageist
What?
right there. Wow.
She's 117.
She's not actually that old, you know.
Yeah, she's like 94.
Yeah, that's not even that insanely old.
Depending on the human, that could actually be quite spry. Or
Her mum lived till she was like 100 and something, so you know, she's got a good
Jesus.
decade in her left.
Oh my God, that's crazy. My daughter's graduating from high school when finally the Queen goes. It's like, oh God. She'll end up holding the record. There was some mention of this on chat before, but holding the record of the oldest monarch ever in the history of the planet. Like, anyways, so moving on to more important matters. You guys continue forward. Now again, you already rolled your perception check. One impacted the other. Actually, the roll is so good, I gave you an opportunity for RP before I even allowed the other one to take place. As you guys are continuing forward along the same path as you were beforehand, I want you to do one more thing because of that discussion. And you do have a modifier to this in my head. But could you roll me a bluff check to act casually? This is once again a group check for you and the soldiers under you. 17, 18, 19. You are 100.
Those are my good rolls for the session.
Seriously. If you don't get a 20 for your next roll, I'll be very surprised. No, it won't be.
You're ramping up. You're ramping up, Josh. You're
Yeah.
getting ready for this Sorsugo fight, yeah.
I'm just saying, look at that 19. What's right next to it? Just saying. So you make your way along the woods, and eventually like acting completely casual. Blah, 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 don't even tell the soldiers what's going on. Just keep an eye. Just keep an eye in case something's going on. Just keep an eye, but not all the details. Eventually, you come stepping, up over like a rock ledge, like not like a big ledge, but like a step up, like a rock that like roots have kind of grown around. And as you step around it, you catch a glimmer in the corner of your eye, probably 50 or 60 feet to the side. You catch the slightest of glimmers. As soon as you catch that, your mind just hits full alert mode, as we all do when something catches your eye. All of a sudden, like, you know what I mean? But again, being discreet about it. All of a sudden, as soon as that happens, you just happen to catch out of the corner of your eye, about 50 or 60 feet off to the other direction. There's like a bit of a movement there, a bit of a shift. As that's happening, you're kind of like taking it in, and you do like a bit of a slow movement, maybe turn around, help the guard behind you climb up onto the little step up that was there as well, and you turn back looking in the area ahead of you. And this is the most important check that you made, not only seeing that this is when the ambush is. You actually notice that before you, the amount of leaves on the ground, I mean, again, it's wintertime, so there's snow and whatnot as well, but this is trees, there's less snow inside here. The leaves on the ground are far denser than they were in the area around it. You can see almost like a patterned area where there's a bunch more leaves that are there. And then you believe you see a bit of like a twine or rope that's kind of settled underneath one of the lifted leaves off like a good 10 feet away from where you are.
It's a trap.
Yeah, so pretty much just like trying to do that thing where I'm just like helping the guards talk, and I just pass along, there's a trap right there, movement in the tree line. We ready?
You tell the guards this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as soon as you tell the guards, they're going to kind of have a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to roll me another bluff check, sir. Sorry. Get the bad one out of the way. So you say that, and they immediately just kind of like, make sure that their crossbows are kind of like looking down at them, making sure that they're ready, everything's knocked, making sure that the bolt is kind of settled comfortably onto the crossbow, and so on and so forth. And maybe even like one of them kind of tosses a look back at Rayrin, like looks Rayrin in the eye and gives a bit of a nod. And you imagine like Rayrin and what's his name there, Leon, have like a moment that they exchange with one another as you're walking. And then Leon says to you, "Are you prepared?"
Says it's
To
to
me?
Rayron?
Correct.
Graham would nod.
These 7 soldiers here. He gestures towards the small group ahead of you. We're going to call them Quill. Quill team is going to go with you. Head round the right flank. I'm going to take these ones. I'm going to go around the left flank. One is going to do what he does best.
Yes, sir.
Pardon, Chosen of the Blade.
Yes.
I'm terribly sorry to inform you of this, but one of the guards here has been complaining about the march for a considerable amount of time. Do you mind if we take a moment to rest?
If you must, we need to make haste. The Sugo won't wait forever.
Understood, of course. Men, spread out. Find an area to relax. Go on. Where's a good place to sit for the 2 kings, not just one? Go. And so you can see that they start kind of like moving about, and the kind of like he starts moving a bit to the left, and the soldiers kind of like go and fan out a little bit in that direction. And Rayron the same. Rayron, do me a favor. Roll me a bluff check.
So many bluffs.
Yeah? Does Rayron know what a bluff check is?
I've clicked it.
Oh, really? Is that me?
Let me try again.
Or is that you?
No, I don't know.
Okay, there it is. Whoa! Sexy as fluff.
That's what happens when you click it multiple times and it doesn't work. It just adds all those rolls together. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess this equals an 18.
Things play out perfectly. The plan happens with perfect precision. As soon as the trap is sprung, literally as soon as the trap is sprung, and unfortunately one of the soldiers had to kind of step into the netted area to fall into the pit, which they do, and that's fine. The other people spring up and immediately take shot. All of the soldiers know exactly what they needed to do, where they needed to be, so on and so forth. And as soon as people jump up, they're looking for them. Everybody takes cover behind trees. Arrows are fired, combat ensues. But the counterfire, the people they're ambushing, did not expect whatsoever. Just in the first volley of counterfire, there was an immediate loss of life on the other side. The battle had swung horribly in your favor and against theirs. So from their perspective, horribly. You guys very, very quickly are able to start making your way around the bit of cover that you have and pick your way up to the bit of ledges that they go. As one had pointed out before, there are people to the left, there are people to the right. Rayron charges to the right with his sword in hand and spells at the ready. Having his crossbowmen providing cover, easily makes his way there and makes quick work of them. Off to the left, Leon does not engage in the combat directly himself. Instead, he strategically places, you, that position, him, you, that position, go, reinforce him. What are you doing? He's like, you're firing slowly. Reload the crossbow for him. Rotate them. Kind of like giving orders like that to the men that he's in command of. And one just sees the person fall through the hole, knows its edge, hops over and charges forward this new axe to Vrogar Warrook in his hands as he charges forward and immediately just engages them in combat. Make very quick work of all of them that are there. You don't got to worry about it.
Are they orcs?
They are all... hold on. They're all half orcs, except for one. Yeah. They're all half orcs except for one, which coincidentally is the one that actually is kind of like engaged in the big scuffle with.
Okay. One would have yelled at them in Orcish too and just called them, just sort of said, "You're all cowards. I hope your bodies, I don't know, actually, he's just going to be like, you're going to rot here forever. You'll never find rest."
Jeez.
Wow. That's rough. And so, they...
Poor bloke.
You guys make quick work of them, leaving behind their bodies for you to look over. There were injuries on your side, a couple of arrows taken, a gash over here. All of them treatable with a kit and a bit of skill or magic if somebody would have it. And the soldier that kind of fell into the pit, they actually, because the way they fell poorly and dislocated their shoulder. But once again, kind of like pop it back in. It's like, ooh, that's gonna be sore for 3 or 4 days, but they'll be fine. They can use it.
It's only my sword arm, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can only thrust.
That's what she said.
Might not have been well, less stories about Scott's youth.
So you guys are left behind with the bodies. Do you wish to do anything or just leave them there and walk?
We should give him a little loot. Once over, twice over, thrice over.
But
no more.
Stack him in that pit that they made.
Sure, absolutely. You can literally drag them and drop them into they already dug their own grave.
Yeah.
Perception check to look over their bodies.
Can I assist Jake on this?
Oh, yeah.
Seeing as your perception check is just better.
So if you're assisting, it's +2.
Man, these rolls are so high today. I'm like afraid of how things are going to play
We're
out.
getting all the good ones out ready for us to go when we just roll under 10 consistently.
So,
like we did against the last boss.
So there's 26 total. You easily look through the bodies, and you find a considerable amount of information off of them. First and foremost, they have their weapons and stuff, but you can grab them, and it's extra stuff to give to the people of Rid when you get there or whatever. But one of the things that you notice, what's your name? One. The boots that they wear, the clothing that they wear, the markings on their face and their body, all that stuff suggests that these are in fact orcs that come from the Barren Lands. These aren't orcs of Kajinxi, these aren't orcs of Tazian, Eustace, or anywhere else. These are orcs of the Barren Lands. They're a good travel from home. You don't know why they're here, but they are definitely orcs of the Barren Lands. This means one of two things. One, these aren't orcs that retreat. These are orcs that fight until they die, and tend to get more frenzied as they travel on, right? As they continue in the fight, like they get more ferocious as the combat goes. But secondly, it also means that they have a bit of an innate fear into them, a fear of something that you had to encounter many times in your youth, which is scary as fuck. They're courageous enough to stave it off if it defends the greater numbers of their people, but it is the one thing that they retreat from, if need be. The one thing that scares them enough to turn tail and run. You know what exists in the Barren Lands. You've walked those borders.
Let us say dragons, or I'm disappointed. Or worms, or wyverns, whatever.
Yeah, one he just says, these are Barren Land orcs. I don't know why they're here. It's a fair way to come for a raid.
Does that
I don't
mean
think it's that.
Does that mean anything? Are they mercenaries?
Nah. There is one explanation. They could be fleeing something.
Another tribe of orcs?
No, something much worse.
Some sort of monster.
He just kind of looks, and you see him, he looks very uncomfortable, and he says, he could say that. And it's clear that he doesn't really want to go into it right now. He doesn't think it's pertinent for the moment.
Raren, he watches you for a little longer, and then he says, "You're beginning to sound like our friend in the map room." And then that's it. So.
Okay. And so you guys continue on. Leon comes over to you and says, "Considering this is the first time we've battle tested our men, I'd say they did well."
Indeed. Exceptionally.
And then you guys continue on. She comes back in the room, Tesh, and she brings with her a meal. I mean, it smells so good. She had taken the liberty of boiling the potatoes and the carrots and the other vegetables that are on there, hearty and full of nutrients, down so that they're soft, easy for you to chew and swallow. Even the meat that they have there, which from the look and the smell of it, you think it's venison. Oh, it smells so good. The seasonings are light, which is probably a good thing as well, considering your state. But it's already been chopped up rather small. The cut of the meat, it was kept to a mid-rare, so it's chewy enough, but not too chewy. You know what I mean? Still has a lot of that blood. Good for strengthening yours, right? Anyways, she places the plate down in front of you and says, "I've spoken with those that I get command from. They've said that I can unbind your hands if you care for me to do so you can eat in comfort."
Please do.
She does that. She unbinds your hands and says, "I have utensils for you." She's holding them. "I'm going to leave the utensils with you, give you some time to eat and relax. I'm sorry to say, but you might also want to bathe. I'll have a basin brought in about an hour's time. Give you some time to enjoy your meal.
Prestidigitation.
You immediately go to cast a spell. You gotta cast prestidigitation on yourself as soon as she unbinds your hands. Roll me a will save.
Oh, okay. There's will.
It works. You cast the spell, but not without effort. You try to cast a spell, you're going through the motions, but as you're going through the motions, you feel like something kind of like holding you back, something like stopping you, but you kind of like press through it with your mind, and you cast a spell, and you're clean. She jumps back with a start. Oh, now I know why your hands were bound.
You're suppressing my magic somehow.
I'm not doing anything.
No, you gesturing to like everywhere.
Well, then I guess no basin. The idea was to clean you up before you spoke with them, but if you're clean enough, and remember, prestidigitation doesn't just dissipate it; it removes it and puts it somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it was on the plate of food.
No.
Like, you can have that back. Oh, the amount of fecal matter. You know, like, so just like on the floor, you said?
Yeah, in the corner.
In the corner. Just like, she's like, looks over at it. She's like, I guess I'll let them know that you'll be ready to speak with them whenever they are.
Yes.
Just chuck that in her face.
Yeah.
Just on her chest.
It was a corner. Could be useful later.
What's that spell? Catapult?
3d6 damage, baby. From a ball of tash.
Yeah, ball of yuck. Like, imagine, does prestidigitation also exfoliate? Anyways, so it's like all the pores squeezed out into one ball.
Oh, that is grim. No, you're filth, Scott. That's too far.
Oh, you said damage. I think it's pretty damaging.
That is filth. I have a strong stomach, and that makes me feel.
Anyways, so you she leaves, and as she leaves, she like knock on the door. As they're opening it, you can hear the clang. She reaches over, places a silver on your plate, and then takes a quick step back, and then steps out of the room, and the door shuts. You can actually fully sit up now that your hands aren't bound anymore. Oh God, sitting up hurts. It does. You might even feel tempted to. You could probably stand at the foot of the bed if you wanted to, shimmy your way down there, but the food is making your stomach rumble hard. You sink your teeth into it, I imagine?
I would
Check the water for the magic repressing stuff.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna try and detect magic on the water just to see on the food and water and everything, just and in general, really.
Do me a favor and roll me a will save.
Yep, figured as much.
You detect water. So you detect magic in the area, and you actually do detect magic that is inside of this area, but it's permeating. It's the whole area inside here. It seems it has a an aura of abjuration inside of it.
I'm in a mage's cage. But like the food's fine. I don't get anything from the food.
Correct.
I didn't think as much, but best check.
Yep.
And I will eat.
Oh, that first bite. After it's been a while, you've been hungry for a while, but then you had to like do more stuff. You've been hungry for a while, but you still didn't get home yet. Like, screw it, I'm not gonna get home. I'm just gonna go order out instead. But then the friggin' server takes forever, and the cook takes forever, and all of a sudden it's put in front of you. You're just so angry that everything took so long. You're so angry at the whole situation overall. But then you sink your teeth into it, and you just don't give a fuck, because it's that good. It's really not that good, but it's that good in this scenario. And you just like it's not like it's a fucking 5-star chef. Yeah, fine. And so the food, it's good. Like, it's good food. It's a quality vegetables. It's quality stuff they're giving you. This isn't prisoner food. You finish eating your food. Maybe you dare to stand and stretch or whatever it is, but your whole body is aching all over. Needless to say, you have the exhausted condition on your character, so you can kind of click that onto your character sheet. But about an hour and change later, low change later, the door opens up again. Clang. Opens up, and she steps in again. And but she doesn't step in alone. She steps in with a soldier. Roll me an intelligence check.
Ooh.
It's a good one. You look at the soldier. You distinctly remember the soldier. They were the one that was calling the shots. They were the one that was giving the orders during the fight. The person in front of you, he's young, but old enough that his parent features would become apparent to a non-parent as well. Maybe 30s or so, early 30s. He comes in. He has his militant armor on. It looks like Paradel armor. It does, like armor of the Paradel military, which is where you grew up, but different. Even the sigil, the interlocking triangles, they're not exactly interlocking, but they're near each other. It's reminiscence. Very, very, very much reminds you of the Paradel military insignia, everything, but isn't quite there. As they walk in, the door shuts behind them. Clang! Shut. And they stands before you, their helmet removed underneath their left arm, and with their right arm, they give a slight bow and say, chosen of the hearth, and stand back up.
So you do know who I am?
I do. And she looks like kind of a little confused.
In that case, why?
It seems as though there is a misunderstanding as to what has transpired in the past, and perhaps another misunderstanding right now. I didn't know who you were at the time that we took you back here. We've discovered that in the time since. We don't take people into our home unconscious without doing due diligence. We've discovered who you were. I believe you thought that we attacked you.
Yes.
Perhaps you don't recall. Do you remember the other in the fight? Not just the soldiers under my command, not just myself. Do you remember the other?
The one that your people cast a spell on and then moved that spell to me?
Yes and no. We did cast a spell on her. It was meant to be a spell that would sap her life. She's different. Did you notice her features? Looks very similar to a Perrin in their late years, but instead with youth. The fine features, the lithe body, the almond shape of the eyes. She's what people call a dryad. However, she's twisted, she's bent. Something about these woods around here, occasionally, there is one of these about that doesn't seem to like the fact that our city exists. She's been causing problems. She's a witch. We went to resolve the issue. We used our magics, as I said, to sap the life from her, draw it from her body and back into the ground. It's a gift given to us by Lady Aravel. As I said before, she's a witch. She has the ability to share spells that are placed upon her with another if they're close enough. Our men kept their distance. They knew what was at stake. But then you came in. You weren't a factor we expected. You weren't a part of the drill. She threw it to you, probably assuming that you were a part of the ambush. She looked to take your life if we were taking hers. We immediately cut off the spell. Unfortunately, she survived. We had to cut it off as soon as we saw it was affecting you as well. But you were in a critical state. You're not as strong as she is. It would have killed you much quicker than it would have killed her. We took you back here immediately. and started treating you. We had to keep you inside of here because, well, unfortunately, we don't know you. We didn't know you. You would have done better in sunlight and rain, but this was for our safety.
If this is all true, then may I leave?
Absolutely. You have every right to leave this place, but not just this moment. We just need to finish conversations with you. It has come to our attention, as I've stated to you, you are one of the rulers of a nearby land, one that we've only recently discovered. And your land has certain laws that we've discovered are none too kind to a land like ours. To just send you home without finishing conversations, diplomatic talks, could lead to war. We're not looking for war with you. So, please, stay with us a bit longer. Not as a prisoner, and not as a ward, but instead as a guest.
This magic's weird. I'll need a sign of good faith that this is the case. There's not a trick to alter what I saw.
He nods. He draws his bastard sword, hands it to you.
Okay. Was not expecting that.
Do me a favor, because you've never served in the military. Roll a history check.
Knowledge history.
To disarm in the Paradel military, beautiful roll. Tesh rolling for the first time in ages, and he does sexy. In the Paradel military, there's a tradition. It can be seen two different ways. To disarm oneself and to arm your enemy or those the one opposite you, is both a sign of truce, like literally, I cannot attack you. I don't have my weapon, and you are armed. I disarm myself in front of you. But it can also be seen as a sign of disrespect. I don't even need this. It all depends on the intention. It's kind of like being like, "Hey Neil, you're a stupid fuck," or "You're such a stupid fuck." You know, like it can have multiple.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at it. Look back to him with at least a bit of a knowing look, and then I'm gonna look to the binds on my feet.
He looks to her and says, "Please," and she goes over and starts to unbind the feet.
All right, I'll just stand up. The martyr would want me to at least try. I'm gonna hand him back his sword.
Okay. He takes the sword and he sheaths it, shink, and says, "I imagine you're weak. You can present yourself before the vigil. Before vigil. Hang on, I'm making sure. Am I saying this wrong? I feel like I'm dumb. 1 second. Go to my notes. Go to notes, my boy. You can make yourself before the vigil, if you'd like. However, you are not in a state to present yourself in a way that is very imposing. Would you like time to rest? A day, 2. You would be given a comfortable bed, a better place to stay, good meals. Then you could present yourself with perhaps a straighter back and a more forceful look in your eye."
He does that sort of like pause for a long time, then just yes, that's probably a good idea.
He nods and says, "Then please allow me to escort you to a chamber where you may be comfortable for the time that you choose to stay with us."
And my things.
They will be waiting for you within the chamber.
And so he just gives the nod.
Allow me to discontinue being rude. He extends his hands to take yours. Commander Cedric.
There's a very obvious, deliberate pause, and then I'll shake back. You already know my name.
He nods and says, "Do you prefer to go by your title or your given name?"
In this situation, I think title is most appropriate.
If that's more pleasing to you, Chosen. He then turns and, like a quarter turn, clang, clang, clang on the door, and clang, the door opens up. What you notice is it doesn't open up to the outside of whatever this box is. It opens up into a short tunnel that is also comprised of this metal. So when you step out of this box, the two
I'll
of
take
you,
it as a sign of respect. The super max.
when you step out of this tunnel to the next one, they don't shut it behind you because there's nobody in there anymore. She stays in. She's gonna kind of watch after you. You imagine she's gonna start cleaning up what you're taking out. He then walks over to the next one and clang, clang, clang. Open on the next door, clang, unlocks, and they pull it open, and finally you're on the outside. And so as soon as you step outside of the box, you can all of a sudden feel rushing back to you, along with fresh air and the outside and sunlight, because this is instead of a building, instead of a room that has windows, so you can see the outside. You can see sunlight. You also feel rushing back to you all of your power, just kind of like settling itself back in, so that you don't have any stops between you and it. When you step out and you kind of like turn around and look at the big box that's there, and the full light, it takes a moment to adjust your eyes, and the full beauty of the light, you can roll me an intelligence check because you're no metallurgist. You can very quickly pick up that the entire room box, because it's literally box with like a little, almost imagine like a squared off igloo, like a little tunnel in front of it, is all comprised of lead. It's lead with reinforced lead bands and steel, almost like bolts, holding it together.
Okay.
So you kind of take that in, take the whole thing in. The room that you're in is otherwise empty. It's a large room, otherwise empty, except for the fact that there is, of course, like I said, there's windows in here that allow just natural light in, sconces for, keeping light. And then also, so out in the hallway, outside that door, there's a guard. In the hallway outside the second door, there is a guard. And other than that, across the room, the door that leads outside of this room is another guard. The building that you're in is comprised of stone, but once again, kind of looking at the marbling and everything that's around you, you can see that this building was, if I remember correctly, this building was created by these people. It's Perrin-style construction. It very much gives you the feel of a prison, which as you finish walking through and exiting, you realize it is a prison. But you're let out immediately. Give me one moment. And double clicking here. Parfait. Scroll. There we go. So when you let out of the prison, he actually leads you a short walk quietly through a city. Now, let me reiterate. Through a city. This isn't a town. No thorp, no village, not even a town, small or large, like Kurzfall is. This is in fact a city. You see there are many people around you. Almost all of them Perrin. You can see the orderly way that the buildings were constructed and built around one another. You see that the roads themselves are laid down and comfortable. You can see that the air is clean and sweet, much like a proper Perrin city, as opposed to the way that they've become over the years, intermingling with all the other races and everything, where they've lost a bit of their order and they've gained a bit of that city smell. This one does not. It is very clean. leads you across a short gap to where you find a garrison, and not a small one, a large garrison at that. Where outside of the garrison, you see a few soldiers that are doing their morning routine training. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Training and whatnot going about. It's a veritable small army in front of you that's training, and leads you past that and over towards another part of the city. The walk going on, once again continuing to be silent, where you walk by a massive library that happens to exist here. Certainly catches your eye. You can see outside the library, there's actually a statue of Lady Aravel herself, who's bent over a table looking at maps and books and stuff like that. It's a bit of a statue that's up there of her. You walk past the library and over along the coast. Yes, coast, because the city actually has comes to the edge of a little bit of a cliff face, like a rocky cliff face that overlooks a beautiful lake beyond it. The lake itself is like a small barge near a... Holy fuck. Is that a temple to Lady Aravel? It's a distance from where you are. Less than a quarter mile. So I would say, what was it? Less than a half a kilometer from where you are. But you can see it from the distance. There is a temple to Lady Aravel here. And it is not small by any stretch. No shrine. You can see it now that you're along the coast. But you're led over past, as you're taking in the sights, to a home that is literally on the cliff face, overlooking the area where the lake is. There's like a walkway that comes down the back of the house, a little walking path, and some steps that are installed so somebody could go down to like a small little beach area at the base of the lake if they wanted to. But you're brought to the house, and he gestures towards the house and says, "This here is my home."
Just nod.
I've asked my family to go and stay with relatives of theirs. I myself will be holding up in the garrison. The house is yours. Please, be comfortable. I hope you find it befitting enough for a king. And then he turns and walks.
Take a moment just looking around the area. Just seeing how many people are watching me. Specifically, how many people look like they're trying to hide that they're watching me.
Roll me a sense motive. Oh, good Jake. Good Jake. You can see that there are a number of people, like let's say a good quarter of them, that are interested whether or not they're hiding it in you. However, the other 3/4, they might glance in a direction your way, but don't really pay any mind to you. They're going about their business. They have their own lives to live, and so on and so forth. You're just a stranger walking through the streets with the commander of the city.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go inside.
Just like if you were to see a local politician walking through your town with somebody, you'd be like, "Huh, I wonder who that is," and then go about your business. Wouldn't really pay too much mind to it. It's probably his nan. So you go walking into the house. It's the house that you can pretty much expect of a commander. Kept orderly. It's not a poor man's home by any stretch, but also no mansion by any stretch of the imagination either. You can clearly tell that he has children. Must be young children, because the types of toys that are about, and certainly the typical living room is rather messy. You get the impression that while certainly every dish within the building has been cleaned and properly and put away, beyond like a hasty cleaning up of the place, they did not expect to be forfeiting their home to you. You get the impression very quickly it was kind of impromptu that you were given this space to be comfortable in before they kind of like vacated to go wherever it is they were going. His bedroom, should you walk into it, is large, comfortable. The bed is well formed. As a matter of fact, it reminds you of a bed from home. It feels like a parent bed. Especially since you grew up in Osto, the capital.
Yeah, he probably... it's one of those things where it's like, he doesn't like that he's like, yes. But he's like, he's just like, he's anticipating the bed. I'm sure he hasn't had a bed like that in a while.
There is a collection of water for you to drink. Right outside of his home, there's a rainwater bucket which would collect, water, and everything for you to, use for drinking if you'd like. It has.
I would also just do a pass over the house, like with detect magic, just to see.
Oh, you actually do detect magic inside of his home.
Whereabouts on what?
It's actually specifically in two places. One of them inside the bedroom, that would be the children's bedroom. And there you see a very faint abjuration magic. And then over inside of his bedroom, roll me a knowledge arcana.
Oh wow, that was a real low roll.
Yep. So you go in there and you can't tell what type of magic it is because its strength is not small, but you can find out where it is. His over in his my apologies, I said his bedroom. I meant his office, his study.
Yeah.
My apologies. Over inside of his office, he has what a roll top desk is. It almost looks like a bread box in the sense that kind of like rolls up. Yeah. It's coming from within a roll top desk. The roll top desk is locked.
Oh. Well, with that, I think he's just gonna reluctantly release himself to the situation and go rest.
You find the bed comfortable, the water sweet and clean, not tinny at all, and you find the food here not small in abundance and well maintained. You can cook yourself food easily, so on and so forth. There was even a small note that you probably find after a nap to kind of like gather your senses, finally stretch, and so on and so forth. You find a note with a small purse that says, kind of like, directions to where the market is, and some coin for you to procure yourself any food that you would like, and also directions to the closest tavern. To the tavern should you want to go there and buy a meal. Of course, the coin was to cover the cost of such things. Also, when you wake up from your rest, you see that the inside the bedroom where you had passed out, like out cold, when you awaken, the hope chest that's at the foot of the bed has been opened, and inside of it, all of your belongings, including the clothing that you wore when you were captured, properly repaired, stitched up and cleaned and whatnot, laundered correctly.
Good.
And
I don't think I have anything else to say.
perfect. And then with that, we snap the camera back over to those walking into Varen. One success under the belt already. They go walking into Varen, and word travels quickly in this sleepy, slow town because people and horses can move quickly. It's not sleepy and slow. It's just big. It's just very broad town. The captain of the guard is informed of your arrival, so she's waiting for you outside of her barracks when you get to it. As you guys approach her, she waves and comes, hops onto her horse and comes walking up to you. Well, it's a delight to see that all of you have made it. I didn't question you for one moment.
Obviously, you have a good sense of character. How have preparations been coming along?
I've spoken to those that rule the town, and they've agreed. Unconditionally.
Good.
She looks about the people that you brought with you, and leans in a bit and says, though I must say, it was only after they saw that you brought soldiers with you. I just got word minutes ago. And leans back.
Well, a yes is a yes, no matter how soon or late it came.
She'll nod to you, then gesture towards one of the injured soldiers, like maybe like a bit of gauze, like a bit of a bandaging on, like a sling for the arm, and you can see some gauze sticking out from underneath his arm or on his shoulder where there's clearly like a hole and some blood staining on the like the leather or whatever he's wearing, and says, "Troubles on the road?"
For them.
Orzugo's men may have left us an ambush. They're all dead.
Oh, as a reminder, I'm sorry, we didn't say this beforehand. There were 13 of them.
Oh, yeah, so that must have hit his band significantly.
Either that or that was just the people that he attacked the farm with. He only needed a dozen.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably didn't even need that.
Yeah.
We might be vastly underprepared.
We'll see. How many was that at the ambush?
The ambush was 13. The attack of the at the farm was like 12. They said about a dozen.
Several dozen, yeah. Okay.
And was there any horses? Did they have horses with them? They did steal a bunch of horses.
They did not have horses. Okay. So she kind of like leads you into the garrison. Well, actually, then she introduces herself to Leon. She says, introduce yourself to him, him to her, so on. And she invites you all into the garrison so you can discuss the plans. Bringing you, of course, up into the office. Just kidding. Down into the open garrison area where she has everybody else clear out so that you may have a full discussion. She doesn't want to have another office chatter. Neil made that uncomfortable. With that, why don't we take a break, and we'll come back in just a couple of minutes and see what happens next. BRB, boyos, and girlies.
Fucking fly.